You know that colleague who makes the same salary as you, does the same work, but somehow is more respected, has more voice in meetings, and always gets the best opportunities? Well, honey, she does not have superpowers. She simply understood a secret that nobody tells. Respect and money go hand in hand. And today I, Duchess Dollars, am going to teach you exactly how to enter this club. Because look, I am going to tell you something. I recently discovered that only 14% of men invested in the United States in 2024. Meanwhile, women represent only 26% of investors in the stock market. And do you know what this means? That while most women are saving money in regular savings accounts, men are out there making money work for them. And then we wonder why we still earn 21% less than them doing exactly the same thing. But calm down, breathe. Because the good news is that half of the women who did not invest said they intend to start this year. And do you know what the main motivation is? Financial security. Exactly. Because we got tired of living in fear of opening the bank app, tired of working, and never seeing the money left over. So if you want to subscribe to the channel of your future rich best friend, hit that bell now and let us go together on this journey of financial transformation. Because when you understand that you can be rich, you will understand that you can do anything. Communication is power. Do you know what the difference is between a respected woman and an ignored woman? The way she communicates. And I am not talking about speaking loud or shouting. I am talking about assertive communication. Assertive communication is when you say what needs to be said in a clear, direct, and respectful way. Without beating around the bush, without endless apologies, without that little girl tone of voice that makes people not take you seriously. I had a boss who, when she said no, she did not explain. She did not justify. She simply said, "It will not be possible." Done. And do you know what happened? People respected her. Because she did not give room for negotiation when the no was definitive. Now compare that with that colleague who, when she needs to deny something, spends 10 minutes justifying herself, almost apologizing for existing. Which one do you think is more respected? So learn. It is not about being rude. It is about being clear. If it is no, it is no. If it is yes, it is yes. Your word needs to have weight. And weight comes from consistency between what you say and what you do. And look, this applies to everything in life. It applies to asking for a raise. It applies to negotiating your price. It applies to establishing boundaries with clients. It applies to ending relationships that do not add value to you. Because when you speak with clarity and act with consistency, people understand that they cannot test you, that with you there is no wiggle room, that you respect yourself and demand the same from others. Image matters, yes. Now let us talk about a politically incorrect truth, but one that everyone knows is real. Appearance matters. And I am not just talking about expensive clothes and designer bags. I am talking about how you present yourself to the world. You can have the best idea in the world, but if you arrive at an important meeting, disheveled, unkempt, misaligned, people will judge you before you even open your mouth. Is it right? No, but it happens. I have already done the test. I have entered mall stores well-dressed and poorly dressed. The difference in service is absurd. When you arrive aligned, people treat you differently. They respect you more. They open more doors. And it does not need to be expensive clothes. It needs to be appropriate. It needs to show that you care about your own image. Because if you do not care about yourself, why would others care? There are restaurants that bar men at the door if they are wearing shorts. There are companies that require dress codes. And this is not by chance. It is because image communicates respect. It communicates professionalism. It communicates that you take what you do seriously. But attention. I am not saying for you to become a cosplay executive wearing a blazer every day if that has nothing to do with you. I am saying for you to find your own style within what is appropriate for the environment where you want to be respected. Because authenticity is not being sloppy. Authenticity is finding the balance between who you are and what the moment asks for. It is dressing well not for others, but for you to feel confident. Because when you feel good about your appearance, your posture changes. Your voice becomes firmer. Your gaze becomes more direct. The power of self-respect. Let me tell you a story. When I was an intern at a law firm, there was a lawyer named Dr. Fernanda who was simply feared by everyone. Not because she yelled, not because she was rude, but because when she said no, it was no, period. Without endless explanations, without that need to please everyone that we have. One day I was there working late and she called me to her office. She said like this, "Duchess, do you want to be respected or do you want to be liked?" I was at a loss for what to answer. Then she continued, "Because whoever wants to be liked by everyone becomes a doormat. And doormats get stepped on." That changed my life. Because until then, I lived saying yes to everything. Yes to working overtime without pay. Yes to taking on other people's work. Yes to giving discounts that would hurt me just because I was ashamed to say no. And do you know what I received in return? Disrespect. People thought they could ask me for anything because I would always accept. And look how interesting. A survey showed that 40% of American women start businesses seeking financial independence. It is not schedule flexibility. It is not doing what they love. It is financial independence itself. Because we woke up to life and realized that depending on others financially is giving up respect. So the first infallible rule is this. You need to respect yourself before demanding that others respect you. And respect begins in knowing how to say no. No to projects that do not value you. No to low salary. No to men who want to split the McDonald's bill. Because when you say yes to less than you deserve, you teach the world to treat you badly. Invest in yourself. Speaking of building wealth, the time has come to talk about real investment. And the first investment you need to make is in yourself. Women represent only 26% of investors in the American stock market. 26%. Meanwhile, we continue to be the majority in savings accounts. And do you know why? Because we were not taught to take risks. We were taught to save, to be good girls, to play it safe. But wealth does not come from playing it safe, honey. Wealth comes from applied financial education. It comes from understanding how money works. It comes from making money work for you instead of you working for money. And look, before you tell me you do not have money to invest, let me remind you, 55% of women entrepreneurs have already achieved financial independence. 57% have their total income coming from their own business. In other words, it can be done. Others are doing it. You can too. The question is, are you willing to do what needs to be done? Are you willing to cut unnecessary expenses? Are you willing to invest in courses, in mentorships, in tools that will accelerate your journey? Because I drastically cut expenses when I was building my wealth. I stopped going out. I sold clothes I did not wear anymore. I saved every penny. My friends thought I had lost my mind. But I had a clear goal. And today I am 35 years old looking 20. I live in a mansion, I have a private driver, personal shopper, and a life that my dreamy teenage self could not even imagine. All because I invested in myself before waiting for someone to invest in me. And speaking of investing in yourself, I need to tell you about something that can completely transform the way the world sees you and treats you. The course. Look rich without spending much. Because look, one thing is having money. Another thing is having the visual, behavioral, and social codes of rich women. And this is not learned in college. This is learned by observing, studying, applying. The course has a promotional launch price because the classes are being released gradually. As soon as the course is complete, the price will go up to full price without discount. So if you want to enter now with reduced investment, this is your chance. I am talking about learning how to behave in high-standard environments, how to dress elegantly spending little, how to communicate with sophistication, how to create an image that opens doors. All of this in a practical way applicable to American reality. The link is in the description. And look, I am an affiliate of the course because I genuinely believe in the content. I would not be able to recommend something that does not work. So, if you want to be treated as a high-value woman, you need to learn the high-value codes. Simple as that. Results speak louder than words. Now let us talk about a truth that nobody likes to admit, but everyone knows is real. People who deliver results are more respected. Period. You can be the nicest person in the office, but if you do not deliver, nobody takes you seriously. I learned this the hard way when I lost $5,000 on my first investment because I did not understand anything about investments. I was devastated. I thought about giving up. But then I realized something. Nobody was going to respect me if I just kept complaining that I lost money. So I went after mentorship, studied obsessively, learned from mistakes. And do you know what happened? When I managed to multiply those 5,000 by 100, people started looking for me, asking for advice. Suddenly I became a reference. Because results are currency in the professional world, honey. The data shows this clearly. 10,350,000 women own businesses in the United States today. A historical record. But do you know how much they earn on average? 24.4% less than men. And Black women earn 47.5% less than white women. This means we need to deliver results twice as good to be recognized the same way. Is it fair? No, but it is reality. So while we fight to change the system, we need to play the game better than they do. And look, I am not just talking about work. I am talking about keeping your word. If you said you will do it, do it. If you promise to deliver, deliver. If you said you will save, save. Because credibility is built on top of small daily victories. Every Saturday morning I wake up, grab my gourmet coffee, sit at my desk, and update my expense spreadsheet. Every week without fail. This is respect for myself. Because whoever does not control money is controlled by it. And credibility begins in you honoring the commitments you make with yourself before honoring those you make with others. Time is money. Now let us talk about something that separates rich women from women who work a lot but remain poor: valuing time. Do you value your time? Do you arrive on time for appointments? Do you meet the deadlines you set? Do you respect other people's time as much as your own? Because look, I still have difficulty with this. My mother was always super punctual, my husband too, and I know that being late communicates disrespect. It communicates that the other person's time is worth less than mine, and this hurts the way I am seen. So this is something I am actively working on, because I understood that if I want to be respected, I need to respect other people's time. I need to arrive on time. I need to deliver on time. I need to show through my actions that I value every minute. And this also applies to how you use your own time. Do you spend hours on Instagram complaining about life? Or do you spend hours studying about investments? Do you spend your free time watching series? Or do you spend it learning new skills that will increase your income? Because time is the only resource you will never recover. Money, you recover. Opportunities appear again. But lost time is lost forever. So be intentional about how you use your hours. Every minute you invest in financial education, in personal development, in building your wealth, is a minute that is bringing you closer to financial freedom. Financial education is the new lingerie. Let me ask you a question. Do you know exactly how much you spent last month? How much you have invested now? What is your net worth? If the answer is no, honey, you are financially naked. And worse, you are handing over your power to other people. Because look, 76.9% of American women were in debt in February this year, against 76% of men. The difference is small, but the detail is here. We women worry more about not having outstanding balances, about not having debt, about not losing credit, because we know we need to hold ourselves up alone. 93% of women participate financially in family expenses, and in 33% of homes, they are the only ones responsible. In lower income classes, this number rises to 43%. In other words, we are holding the house alone, doing double shifts, and still earning less. And then you ask me, Duchess, how am I going to be respected if I cannot even pay my bills? Exactly because of that. Because respect comes from autonomy, and autonomy comes from financial education. I remember that as a teenager, I saw my school colleagues with designer backpacks, expensive binders, several brand name sneakers. I had a backpack that I used for years, notebooks instead of binders, only one pair of sneakers. I asked my grandmother to give me colored gel pens for my birthday because they were very expensive. My dream was a Motorola Razr phone that I never managed to have. That bothered me deeply. But instead of staying there, lamenting, or waiting for some Prince Charming to save me, I decided to learn about money. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, took English courses to read international material, studied investments on my own, and I transformed that adolescent hurt into fuel to build wealth, the strategic networking game. Now let me tell you a secret that rich women know but nobody talks about. Networking is not about knowing everyone. It is about knowing the right people. When I got my first $100,000 invested, I started attending investor events. And it was in these environments that I met people who changed my trajectory, including my husband, Mr. Millionaire. It was not love at first sight. It was strategy at first sight. He had wealth, financial education, and ambition. I had youth, intelligence, and determination. We made a perfect partnership both in love and in business. And before you think I am being mercenary, let me explain something. Smart women choose partners who share the same vision of wealth. It is not about marrying for money. It is about not marrying someone who will pull you down financially. Because data does not lie. 73% of American women entrepreneurs are mothers. 37% are single mothers. And 90% need to balance paid work with household chores. In other words, we are already carrying the world on our shoulders. The last thing we need is a partner who will still give us more financial work. So yes, choose well who you associate with, both in business and in personal life. Because the people around you either elevate you or pull you down, and you cannot afford to have people pulling you down if you want to build wealth. Be careful with your company. Last infallible rule: tell me who you walk with, and I will tell you who you are. And more importantly, tell me who you walk with, and I will tell you how much you earn. This is not elitism. This is strategy. Because the 5 people you spend the most time with determine your mindset, your opportunities, and your standard of living. If you spend all your time with people who complain about life, who have a scarcity mindset, who do not believe in financial growth, guess what will happen? You will absorb that energy. Now, if you spend time with women entrepreneurs, with women who invest, with women who are building wealth, you will automatically raise your standard. I had to make difficult choices on this journey. I had to distance myself from friendships that pulled me down, not because these people were bad, but because they did not share my vision of wealth. And look how interesting. Research shows that women entrepreneurs prefer personal advice to decide about investments. 30% choose to talk to managers or specialists. 19% prefer advice from friends and relatives. This means that our social circle directly influences our financial decisions. So choose well who advises you about money. Only accept financial advice from those who have more money than you. Only accept relationship advice from those who have the relationship you want. Only accept career advice from those who have already gotten where you want to go. So recapping the infallible rules to be more respected and get rich doing it. 1. Respect yourself before demanding respect from others. Learn to say no without apologizing. 2. Deliver consistent results. Credibility is built in practice. 3. Educate yourself financially. Knowledge is power, especially when we talk about money. 4. Take care of your image. Appearance communicates respect. 5. Develop assertive communication. Be clear, direct, and consistent. 6. Build strategic networking. The right people open the right doors. 7. Invest in yourself. You are your best investment. 8. Value your time and the time of others. Punctuality communicates respect. 9. Choose your company well. You become the average of the people you live with. If you made it this far, give this video a like to show me that you want to be rich and respected. Subscribe to the channel because every week there is new content to help you in this financial transformation. And tell me in the comments, respect begins in me. This is your phrase. 6 words for you to remember every day that everything starts with you valuing yourself. Because when you understand that you can be rich, you will understand that you can do anything. Poverty is a mental state, and mental state can be changed more easily than marital status. Win at life, honey. You deserve it. Until the next video. Kisses from Duchess Dollars.